If you talk all the time, you'll never hear what anybody else has to say.
All right, just want to get started. Who's here? Just trying to do the right thing. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Who's here? Hey guys. Can you guys say hi in the chat? In the chat, I'm starting Q&A. I'm gonna ask where you guys are from. Where are you from? Put the flag in the chat or just say it. Probably say it because I can't recognize all the flags. Got it. Let's put it like this. Got it. 8 people in the chat. How are you guys? How's your weekend going? I had a great live yesterday with a random guy from the west coast of the US who was telling me about his recent breakup while I was drawing. That was very intimate. That was very interesting. I didn't know a live could get that deep. But shout out to, oh man, I feel bad. I feel like I forgot his name already. Oh, there's another guy from Kuwait called Walid who came to the live yesterday. Um, and he was really cool. So shout out to Walid for pulling up yesterday. You know? And thanks to all 3 of you that are watching right now and not saying anything. Um, maybe I should also be quiet right now. So this is a new painting that I started. It's a new drawing that I ended up choosing to do because I haven't been very lucky with my sketches since I've been back. You know, and I think that actually brings me to talk about the creative process. You know, I think in the creative process there's like there's a flow. Like if you stay consistent, you enter a flow that most people are never gonna even reach because they're not consistent. But when you break the consistency, then you got to start from scratch. And I feel like because I was away for 10 days, I broke the consistency, and all the sketches I did when I came back were bad. And when I say bad, it's bad by my own standards, obviously, like it's subjective, right? So yeah, so now I kind of settled with this painting. I think it's the best sketch that I could do. Hopefully, I have better stuff going on later on. Yeah. There you go. A little smaller. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. 5 people in the chat. Shout out to all of you. Shout out to all the people in the live right now. All 5 of you. You know what? To do a lot of these paintings, you need a lot of patience. You need a lot of patience, you know. So after yesterday's live, when I was talking to this guy in the U.S. who was talking to me about his breakup and how good he is at just moving on from things, I kind of figured out like that's the same a lot in the creative process. It's like you just something goes bad, you just move on. You know, you get on to the next sketch, and sometimes I've abandoned a lot of paintings halfway because I've found something, you know, just as good, if not better, like right after, right? So, you know, um, yeah, I'm really like embracing failure and just moving on is pretty important. But also being too comfortable with moving on, you know, you might just become a stone cold, you know, person too. Like you don't expect any, you like not even trying to make it work. You're just ready to go all the time. That's the other side of being too flexible. Like you're ready to just dip, you know. And I struggled with that a little bit. Like as a person, I feel like I have a bit of an avoidant attachment style because I, you know, I feel like I'm safer if I know the outcome, you know? And so when I don't know the outcome, or like when I feel like I'm not in control, I kind of freak out. But the funny thing is, my creative process has helped me kind of work against that. So hopefully, all of our creative processes are conducive to our growth as people, right? Yeah. Um, so I wish I could play music during these lives, but they don't own the rights to the music. You know, I used to not do lives because I just want to listen to music by myself while I'm painting instead of talking to myself like I am right now. Feels a little weird. Because I used to just do, you know, I've done 3 years of these paintings by myself with music or podcasts, you know, and now it's like, yeah, now it's a little bit like, you know, if you want to do live content, you gotta engage with people, you gotta talk to people that will potentially show up, maybe, you know, that's just what it is. Also, most people join live from like the most random, like from their phones. Yeah, but I'm wondering if I was streaming from my computer, what would that be like? Did you guys have a good week? Those of you that are watching this right now, did you have a good week or did you have a good year? You know, I think I had a pretty good year actually, and I think that my week was a little bit weird, but I just came back from a great trip, and I feel like I shouldn't be allowed to complain about anything. That's so crazy. Yeah, I've been trying to scale down the not the complaining, but maybe not putting things into context when anything feels bad. Oh my god, I wish Waleed or Bella would come in this chat right now and talk to me. Jesus Christ. Welcome to my painting session. If you just joined, this is the second phase of my creative process. I would say my creative process is you sketch first, then you paint, and I think in the painting there's like sub phases, and then you write. You like write a story that's inspired by the painting. You should to the paint, yeah. You write a story. I'm writing a story about all the paintings, but it's kind of weird that I did writing last. Maybe writing should have came first. I don't know. But writing is not my primary skill. I think I'm just primarily more of an artist, to be honest. You know. Who is this? Ardeshirgo Lepore 6961. How do I say your name properly? What's your name, Ardeshigo? Ardeshirgo. Can I call you Shirgo? Are you still here? The problem with my chat is like I see the chat like after, like I get like a delayed response, so I don't even know if this person who just said this is still here. Saturday run again. What do you guys do on Sundays usually? I think tomorrow. I'm gonna try and finish this painting, do more sketches, and then I'm going to read. Yeah, I'm reading this book right now. It's called The Player of Games. It's by Ian Banks, who wrote the culture books, and I just started reading those books because it's about a civilization. The culture books are about civilizations without currencies. Like they don't have, like it's civilizations with abundance. Like they have everything they want whenever they want. So, in a world like that, where we have everything we want whenever we want, how do humans find meaning? A lot of humans today are moved by the money they need to make to pay their rent, mortgage, whatever it is. So money is making people get off their butt in the morning. But if money wasn't a thing and there was abundance, what would people do with their day? And what I learned in the book so far is that humans are inherently moved by status. So there's a lot of games and sports and entertainment and things like that. You know, and I I began reading these books, these culture books, because I I think maybe the world might be going in that direction if we do have abundance in the future. But I also don't. I wonder if abundance is really what everybody wants. Like, I don't know if the world would be better off if everybody had everything they wanted whenever they wanted, right? Actually, what ends up happening in the book that I'm reading called The Player of Games is that he's annoyed with having everything he wants whenever he wants and playing fake games where losing has no consequences, that now he's tempted to go play a game where he might actually lose everything he has, you know? So it's almost like imagine future civilizations trying to live like how we're living now, where if you don't work and you don't make money, you're gonna suffer. Anyways, just an interesting concept. I've been reading a lot this year. I mean, a lot more than I usually do because of the book that I'm writing, but I can talk about some of the books I've been reading and why they're my favorites. Um, my favorite book I think this year was The Kite Runner, which is pretty famous. It's a famous book. You might have heard about it if you're into literature. It might have been in your school. Your teachers might have told you to read it in school, but it's basically about a young boy who lives with a lot of guilt because of some mistakes he made in his early childhood, where his best friend, which was also his maid at home, got abused, and he watched it happen and didn't do anything about it. And the reason why he didn't do anything about it was because he was afraid, and so he lives with that shame later on in life because he moves away from that country after war. A war happens in that country they live in, and he has to move away. And he moves away by himself with his dad, and he leaves his old friend behind. And even abroad, he lives with that guilt and the shame that comes with seeing such a thing happen. Your friend get abused, and then you not do anything. And the crazy part is, even after his friend got abused, he never let his friend know that he saw him get abused. So he was pretending it didn't happen, and he was even trying to make his friend do something bad to him so that he could feel okay about how much of a coward he was. Um, so what ends up happening in The Kite Runner is that the main character moves away from the country he's from. I think they were from, I don't don't want to. I don't want to. It was it Kazakhstan. I think it's Kazakhstan. I don't want to make a mistake about it, but they were from Kazakhstan, and when the war happened with the Russian army invading the region, he moved away to the U.S. with his dad, and he left his old friend that got abused when they were kids in. He left that friend back home. And so when he goes to the U.S., he grows up, and he ends up marrying a girl and everything, and he just can't seem to be able to make a baby with the girl, because he did marry a girl and he loves her, but he just can't get her pregnant. But he gets a call from an old friend in Kazakhstan. I think it's Kazakhstan, and the friend says, "Hey, I need you to come here. There's something that belongs to you, I think, or I'm in danger. There's like an urgent situation that needs his presence." So he travels and he meets the son of his old friend. And he also learns that his friend died during the during he oh well yes he learns that his friend died when he gets there, but his friend had a son, and now his mission is to find the son of his friend. And the really sad part about the story is the son of his friend also suffered a lot of abuse, and he was like this kid that lost all the people that loved him, and it was really rough to see such a good guy, because the entire book tells you how much of a good friend he had. And the crazy part is the friend wasn't just his mate at home. They later on found out in the book that the friend was like his half sibling. And the reason why the father had accepted to keep the maid and the maid's father, which was the father's best friend, in their compound, is because it was a secret, right? It was a secret that his that the maid friend was his brother, and no one else knew. And the secret was that his father had slept with his friend's dad's mother, right? And so the father felt guilty, and he had to raise his son with his best friend's son as well. It's really messed up. It's a really messed up story, but it ends with a little bit of hope, just a little bit of it. But I just like how realistic the story was, and God knows how many people have been through things of that nature, right? So yeah. Hello, hello. So who is still watching right now? Who are the two people that think this live is worth watching right now? One of the other great books that I read this year was Me Before You. Me Before You by oh my god, I'm forgetting her name. The author of Me Before You. Amazing book. Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. Me Before You was written by Jojo Moyes. Am I saying Moyes right? Is it Moyes or Moyes? I don't know. Anyways, Me Before You is an amazing story about this girl in a small town. She's never left this small town, and she's always worked at the same coffee shop. And one day, she gets fired from the coffee shop because it's closing. I think it's struggling financially. And then she's applying to all kinds of jobs, and she hates all the jobs that she's applying to until there's a high paying job to take care of a quadriplegic, which is basically a disabled person who's disabled from the waist down. And he happened to be an ex hedge fund manager type of person, super rich, but he was a master of the universe, and now he got into a big accident and he's disabled, and he's pretty cynical about life, and what she doesn't know when she starts working for him is that the guy actually wants out of life. He wants to end his life. And so she starts working for the guy, and he's very annoying. He has an attitude. He seems to have given up on life, and he has every reason to think like that because he can't enjoy his life the way he used to. But the reason why the story is incredibly interesting is because William, the guy who's disabled in the story, he lived his life on the edge. He went on every ski trip. He was always on a private jet. He was surfing somewhere. He was taking every risk, enjoying everything life had to give him. But then the girl in the story, whose name I'm forgetting right now, and hopefully it'll get back to me in a second. The girl in the story who used to work at a coffee shop in a small town, she's always lived a small life. And the contrast between a disabled person who used to live a big life and now a person that had, a very modest job trying to, you know, just stay afloat, is that he ends up trying to encourage her to take more risk in life. While she later, when she finds out that he wants out of life, is trying to encourage him to, um, she's trying to encourage him to stay alive, and it's really hard to do. And I think the guy's family paid her a lot more money than they should have because they also wanted to keep him alive, and apparently the only thing that made him happy at a certain point was the girl herself. And it's actually a bit of a sad story because she, like the whole book has a great, Jojo Moyes does a great job building momentum with the girl, like showing that she really cares about him and wants to do everything she can for him to find happiness and enjoy life despite the circumstances that he's in. Um, and she really works at it. She does all her research. She joins all of these, forums of disabled people, and talks to all kinds of people that, might have gone through the same thing to learn how she can make him happy and make him enjoy life. She falls in love with him despite having a boyfriend that was fully, a really fit guy actually, clearly not disabled. But she falls in love with her disabled employer, and he also falls in love with her. And so, all that momentum leads you to think that she can change his mind about his life and that she can keep him alive. But it does not. It you know I'm I'm spoiling the whole story if you're watching this live right now, but what ends up happening in the end of the story is that he chooses to end his life anyways, despite the fact that she did everything to make him happy. And so, you know, it's a sad story. You know, the guy still wants to die, and he's gonna go ahead and do so, but it's totally gonna break her heart because, you know, she had found someone that made her feel special. And so he does end up passing away voluntarily, but he leaves her with an incredible appreciation for life and a will to enjoy life beyond the small measure through which she's been seeing life, right? Oh, hey, who's here? Bald girl, bald girl, bald girl, bald. What's your name? You're from Nepal? Oh, I've never been to Nepal, but I want to go to. My first time in Asia was like a week ago. I was in China, but that's about it. I haven't done much in Asia, and you know, Nepal sounds amazing. I want to go to Nepal. Nepal has to be. Nepal is in Asia, right? Just want to make sure I'm correct. Nepal is in Asia. I don't know why I just thought it might be in South America. Yeah, that's a lot of blue, right? You're right. That is a whole lot of blue. Blue. Where are you from, bald girl? Sorry, uh, bald girl. Like, what's your name? What's your name? What are you into? What are your hobbies? Do you like painting and drawing? If you like these paintings, I'll be doing a lot more lives. You know, I like this time of the day, so um, please subscribe if you like this content. And usually I do the lives to talk to people and just get to know them and you know see what kind of people are into my work. You know, I've been doing these paintings for 3 years now, and I never filmed any of it. So this is a bit of an experiment. Damn, bald girl is gone. No, 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 no. I feel like there's another book I read this year. Well, okay, I read The Hunger Games, and that was everybody knows The Hunger Games, so don't gotta talk about that much. Then all the other books I read were about how to write. So I read Save the Cat writes a novel by Jessica Brody, and I also read On Writing by Stephen King. You know, those were pretty good. Those are pretty informative. I kind of liked it actually. Yeah. Looks like Saturday has a lot less traffic than Friday. Like people are out today. If you're the one person that's been watching my live this whole time, I just want to say thank you. What the hell is going on outside? Jesus Christ. Once I get in the groove. Once I get in the groove. Once I get in the groove. This is actually a good idea. Very impressed. Very impressed by this.